Busch Gardens Williamsburg is one of the most beautiful theme parks I have been to, but are the rides as good as the landscaping? Well, I got on almost everything when I was there, so let's discuss what's worth keeping and what should be scrapped. Right, when we went there, it was a group trip and we were fortunate enough to have some ERT, which, for those of you that may not know, that means exclusive ride time. So an hour before the park opened, we got in and we had access to Tempesto, Apollo's Chariot and Pantheon. Now Pantheon is the one I'm going to start on because this thing is amazing. Absolutely love this coaster. It's one of the modern Intamin launch coasters and it is just a lot of fun. It is super smooth. It's got that forwards and backwards launch, that sort of swing launch up the spike, and you get a ridiculous amount of airtime. There's a little camel hump when you do that swing. Oh man, it is so much fun. We were fortunate enough to be allowed to film on ride, which the park generally allows if you get your equipment signed off. So there are POVs and rider cams of me on this thing, and I just had so much fun. Did multiple laps before the park had even opened. So definitely going to start strong on this one, because this bad boy is going in my keep pile. Okay, so they've got a brand new coaster that is kind of not as good as what we've just discussed. So many years ago they had the Big Bad Wolf. That ride was iconic and it was removed. Now I sadly never got to experience it. That section is where Verbolten is and we will cover that one shortly. But this year they brought back the Big Bad Wolf, A Wolf's Revenge. Now it's obviously a homage to the original. It's a B&M family suspended coaster, so it's not a invert like Nemesis or Montu or Raptor or anything like that. This is more like, it's just two seats in a row, lap bars this time, which on the face of it, you think that's good, right? Lap bars tend to be more comfortable than over the shoulder restraints. I was disappointed with this ride, to be perfectly honest with you, and I've been disappointed with a lot of B&M's latest work, right? B&M, Bolliger and Mabillard, Swiss manufacturer who used to be one of the best, right? They are notoriously expensive rides, but expensive for a reason because the build quality used to be top notch. Something's changed. I don't know if it's staff that have left the company, if they're just trying to reduce their price tag so that they're more attractive to parks and therefore they're kind of cutting corners. Their recent rides, they're not as good. Now don't get me wrong, this is not a bad ride. I'm not saying this is horrific, get rid of it, knock it down, but it's definitely not their finest work. There is a rattle in it already. The ride's been open for a few months. Now does that rattle take away from the experience? Not really. Will the general public notice it? Probably not. But if you look for it, you can hear the rattle, you can feel the vibration. And I did say it's lap bars. Now I personally found the lap bars okay. I was on it with Andy, Coaster Crazy. He found them really bad, like just the positioning of them, they're not the most comfortable. So, you know, your mileage may vary. You might think this is a good ride, but personally, I was underwhelmed by it. Now, I'm not going to scrap it because it's not that bad, but it's definitely going in that take it or leave it pile. Right, I'm going to get some flack for this next one. I know some people are going to agree with me on this one and others are going to come at me in the comments, but there's a coaster there that I was very keen to get on. It's very iconic, it's well known amongst enthusiasts, and it's in the Scotland area. You know, so as a Scotsman, I was like, happy days. Now, it's the most cheesy Scottish area you've ever been in. Does that mean the music's kind of Scottish? You know, there's a lot of tunes in there that if you're Scottish you'll recognise. And there's a dude that narrates as you kind of leave the station and go up the lift hill in the most terrible Scottish accent you've ever heard.
Upon a new team, welcome, we just made a bit of a discovery for you.
But this is of course Loch Ness Monster. It's a visual spectacle, right? It's got those interlocking loops. It is beautiful. If you're on the Skyride or even just walking past and you see this thing, it looks stunning, right? And it's a long ride. It's a very long ride. You know, multiple lift hills, helixes, the loops, etc. The problem I've got with this ride, and it's an old Aerodynamics ride, right? So again, if you don't know, that's a manufacturer that no longer exists, right? Here in the UK, they built the big one, Revolution, Steeplechase. They folded, right? They've not been around for a long time. So there are enthusiasts who are very passionate about aerodynamic rides because of that nostalgia. But as you can imagine, with their age, they're starting to show that age, right? So the park took the decision to retrack sections of this. And as far as I'm aware, it was the two interlocking loops that got retracked, possibly some other sections. it's bad. It's really bad. Now, and I thought I was exaggerating because there's others on the trip with me that were like, oh, I love that ride, and I was like, I found it really uncomfortable. And then I watched back the POV that I took, and when you go in the loops, the camera is absolutely bouncing. It is really not a smooth ride at all, especially the sections that have been retracked. So yeah, I'm not going to be popular for this one, but let's wrap it. Right, if you've seen the vlogs from this trip, and I will link this vlog at the end, you'll know that in almost every park we went to, there was always something closed. I suppose it's unavoidable, but it's frustrating when you've travelled all the way, you know, to America, and you're probably not going to be back anytime soon, that you don't get on something. Well, in this case, it was Darkoaster. Now, that is an indoor coaster, as the clue's in the name, I suppose. It's a straddle coaster, an Intamin, I believe, and it looked fantastic. In fact, we were meant to be getting behind the scenes on this ride. We did get behind the scenes on something else. But yeah, I didn't get to experience this one, and I'm kind of gutted. So I don't know what this is like. I can't rate it, obviously, but if you've been to the park and got on this ride, please let me know in the comments down below what you think of it, because, well, it looks quite cool, but I don't know. Right, I mentioned that when we got the ERT at the start of the day, there was 3 coasters that we had access to, and one of those ones was Tempesto. Now, this is a Premier Rides Skyrocket 2 model. It's very similar, if not identical, to the one Tigris in the other Busch Gardens park. It's an interesting attraction, right? It's very, very compact. It's quite kind of like, looks visually interesting. It's got another swing launch, so a couple of rides here that have got that. You know, so LSM's sort of fires you back and forward. The problem I've got with this, and it seems to be a problem with Premier Rides, which I don't think we have any of in the UK, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, is their restraints. They've got these weird comfort collars, they call them, right? So you've got the bar that you pull down, and then you've got this kind of flexible collar thing with it's almost like a carabiner, it's like a clip on the end of it that clips in, but this thing just rattles around. It's not comfortable, so I don't know why it's called a comfort collar. So yeah, I think that kind of, to me, ruins it. I did it for the cred, but I did not want to go back on it. So I'm going to put it as take it or leave it. I'm sure there's people that love it. Some people have pointed out it would fit well in Blackpool because it's very compact. I wouldn't want one, but it could do. So yeah, take it or leave it. And then the third attraction that we got access to was Apollo's Chariot, which is a B&M hypercoaster. I want to say it was the first. Could be wrong on that one, but I think it was the first one they ever did. Now, I do like B&M hypers. This might sound a surprise to some because I've slated a couple of them. Like I love Shambhala. Love Shambhala. This one wasn't bad, but I don't know. Sometimes when I see these B&M big coasters, you see the height and you go in with this expectation that this thing is going to be insane, and then you come off going, that was all right. Like I went on it 2 or 3 times during the ERT, and then tried to get back on it later in the day. There was a thunderstorm. So maybe it warmed up later in the day and I didn't get to experience it. There was people on the trip who loved it. I just was underwhelmed by it. Maybe I went in with too high an expectation. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe I should go into rides with no expectations and just see what comes out of them. So it's not bad, but for me it wasn't what I expected. So I'm going to put this one down as take it or leave it. I mentioned that we got behind the scenes on a couple of attractions, and one of those attractions was Griffon, which is their B&M dive coaster. Now, this is an impressive beast. It's a visual spectacle because they, unlike some parks, they still hold you at the top of that drop, which is kind of the spectacle that they want, right? And actually, when you're up there, there's a sign painted on the floor. You know, like Towers has got "Don't Look Down." Well, this one's got like "Say Ah" or something like that. So it holds you there for a decent amount of time. There are a couple of other drops, inversions, all sorts. So this has got a decent layout in it. And again, I filmed a POV and I filmed a rider cam on it. The rider cam did me dirty because my face, holy moly, the G-forces are. So yeah, that was impressive. And, you know, as I say, getting to see behind the scenes and hearing all about it, it's one of those ones that And there's a few of these that's got the kind of water breaks, right? So you see it where it goes through a splashdown and then water goes everywhere, right? It's not for, I mean, it is a visual spectacle, but it's there to slow the train down. It's one of the braking mechanisms. The problem with that though is that when we did the behind the scenes, they told us that the water level has to be at a certain amount. If it's too low, it won't slow the train down enough. If it's too high, it'll slow it down too much and it won't complete the course. So the water level's got to be at a certain amount. I stood next, it was a scorching hot day, so I stood next to it thinking, oh, I could do with a cool down. The splash doesn't come onto the path, which is really, really annoying. So anyway, listen, I love this coaster, so I'm going to put this one in the keep pile. Right, we're about halfway through the list, and if you like my new studio, make sure you hit that like button. So the second coaster that we got behind the scenes on was Alpengeist, which is the tallest B&M invert, I want to say. It's bloody massive. It's huge and it is insane. And it's an old B&M, right? So going back to what I said about quality of rides, this one still has the quality in there. It's not got the rattle. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Now, a few people on the group said that the first half of this was so like forceful and great and all that, and then after the mid-course brake run, it kind of lost it. I didn't notice that when I was on the ride. I've watched back the POV and I kind of see what they mean, because like it is insane in that first half, massive drops, inversions, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then after the brake run, it just sort of snakes its way back to the station. I didn't notice it when I was on the ride. Personally, loved the ride, very, very intense, and it was so hot. We were given the option of 2 skip the queue rides on it. So we basically took over a train, and then it was like, who wants a second shot? It's so forceful and it was so hot that none of us went back on for that second shot. Not because I didn't like it, just because I would have passed out. So it's very, very intense and very, very enjoyable, and definitely one that I will put in a keep pile. They've got a wooden coaster known as Invadr. Now, I'm pretty sure when I was looking into this one, it's got the old trains from Gwazi before it became Iron Gwazi. Listen, this one looks okay, right? It looks like a nice family wooden coaster. We didn't have to wait very long for it, which was good. And we managed to get front row so we could get POV and all that kind of good stuff. It wasn't comfortable. Like, I went on it with Andy and we both came off going, that was a lot rougher than we expected it to be. So yeah, I was very disappointed with this one because it's the only wooden coaster that they've got and it's not a very good one. Now, again, if you've seen the vlogs from my trip to America, there's a lot of standout wooden coasters throughout the parks. This one wasn't on that list. So I guess it's got a purpose for that younger audience, the family market. They probably won't mind it as much as enthusiasts do. So I'll put it in take it or leave it. But yeah, it was a bit of a letdown considering some of the other woodies that we'd experienced. Right, there's a few flat rides in the park. Generally America does flat rides better than the UK, as in they have some. One of them is their Screaming Swing, which was Finnegan's Flyer. Now, I like a Screaming Swing. We've got one in the UK down at Thorpe Park with Rush. I've done at the other Busch Gardens, yeah, there's the Serengeti Flyer, which was the tallest. Later on when I review Hershey Park, there's a massive one there. This one was quite small. Definitely wasn't on the scale of the Serengeti Flyer. Might be smaller than the one in Thorpe Park or similar size. It was okay, it wasn't bad. And I like a flat ride, I do like a Screaming Swing. So I'm gonna be very kind to it and put it in a keep pile. But yeah, would have liked it to be taller because, well, I like a giant Screaming Swing. Right, this next one will not come as a surprise to anybody that knows the channel. They've got a train ride, the Busch Gardens Railway. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's a train, it goes round the park. I like a train, choo-choo. So yeah, I mean, this bad boy's going in the keep pile. Right, sticking with transportation, they've got a sort of cable car system, Aeronaut Skyride. Now I used that to get over to the Scotland area because it's a big park and I couldn't be bothered walking. It's the old school type of cable cars. So obviously the ones we've got like at Towers are those kind of big gondolas, fully enclosed. Disney's got the same sort of thing. These are the smaller, like 4-man open cable cars, which is fascinating still to see. I would have thought nowadays with health and safety, these things would be shut down. But it's good that it's not, because I quite enjoyed this. Get some cracking views over the Loch Ness Monster. As I said, I don't like the ride, but I appreciate it as a visual spectacle. So you do get to see quite a lot, and yeah, it's a big park, so something that's going to take the load off your feet is a good thing. I'm going to keep it. So I said already that the park was, or the day that we visited the park, it was absolutely scorching. So obviously, the one thing you want when it is absolutely scorching is a water ride to cool down. Now there is one, and I'm going to cover that in a minute, but there's a second one. They're rapids. Now their rapids are called Roman Rapids. I can't tell you if they're any good, because for some reason the day we were there, they weren't running. Which, as I say, one of the hottest days they had, the attraction you want to get on. So if you've been on the rapids, please let me know in the comments down below if they're any good, because well, I missed out on it. Right, so the other water ride, well, there's two actually. One of the other water rides that I did get on was Escape from Pompeii. And this is quite an interesting ride, right? It's not a very big ride, it's not a long ride in any shape or form. It's kind of, I mean, it's basically a shoot the chute. But at the top, there's an indoor dark section. So if you imagine, just think if Tidal Wave had like a building at the top and there was like a dark scene. That's basically what this was, right? So you go up the hill as you would on a shoot the chute. And then you go in, and then obviously, as you would guess, because it's called Escape from Pompeii, it's kind of like an archaeological site that they're kind of doing some work on. So there's scaffolding, and there's all these statues and flame effects going off, and statues falling over. Like, it's really, really well done. And then obviously you come out the doors and then down the big slide, and you get absolutely drenched. Which, again, because it was hot, was exactly what I needed. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was quite a nice way of theming up a shoot the chute ride, basically. So definitely going to my keep pile. One last coaster in this park, and it caught me off guard in a very, very good way, because I didn't know anything about it, and I came off it with a massive smile on my face, and that is Verbolten. Now, I think I mentioned earlier they used to have the big bad wolf, and it had that kind of iconic sort of drop down towards the water section. Well, they've reused that in this attraction. So I got on this attraction, and the trains are sort of themed to Porsches, I think it is, sports cars basically. I didn't know anything about it, as I said, and it's, I want to say it's zero rides, so it's not a manufacturer that you tend to think, oh, they do fantastic attractions. Well, they did here. They knocked this one out of the park. So you leave the station and you kind of do a bit of track, and then you hit this launch section into a building. And there's kind of some UV bits, and then it gets really dark, and then there's some really impressive forces. Like, I was on it with Andy, and the pair of us were like, yeah, okay, nearly grayed out on that one indoors, which is impressive. And then you kind of come to a halt, and there's this kind of creaking and cracking, and then there's a drop track, down you go, and then flying out another launch, and then you go out to that iconic section I mentioned, sort of drop down towards the water, and then back into the station. Thoroughly enjoyed this one, definitely caught me off guard. Disappointed I didn't get a second shot on it, just time ran away from us, and then a thunderstorm at the end of the day, which is ironic because it's peeing it down outside right now. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this one, definitely going to the keep pile. And then they've also got, a classic log flume, right? It's called Le Scoot. Now, if I remember correctly, this was kind of mediocre in that, as I've already said, I wanted to cool down that day. It was probably one of the most uncomfortable days we had in the park. And so, water ride, happy days. Stood in the queue for this bad boy. It had, if I remember correctly, you get up the first lift hill, and then there's a really small sort of pre-drop. And then you kind of meander around, and then there's the main drop, and then that's it. Like, it's not a very long track. It wasn't even that wet. Like, I got a sprinkling, which was nice, but like I kind of wanted to get wet and cool down. I do like a log flume though. I do like a log flume. You know, I'm disappointed that there's very few of them left in the UK now. You know, all the big parks, Blackpool Towers, got rid of them. And I miss them. So I'm gonna keep this one because, yeah, okay, it wasn't the most impressive log flume, but I still enjoyed it. Right, there's my review of Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It is a fantastic park. I've been to the other Busch Gardens and I was definitely not a fan of that one. Great rides, terrible park. This one, beautiful park. Loved it, would definitely go back to it. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one because I guarantee there'll be things you agree with and there will be things that you disagree with. Anyway, if you haven't seen the vlog from this trip, I'm going to put that up here. I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad. See you over there.